Hello and welcome to live post-match reactions to the Chiefs versus the Brumbies. The Chiefs won this one at 24-19 in the end, and it was a close one. The Brumbies came close to grabbing this one after being kept scoreless in the first half. The Brumbies' real problem in this game was their turnovers. They just turned the ball over far too many times in this game. And sorry, sorry about that. I managed to left the window open. They were kept scoreless in that first half, and turnovers was a big problem for them. In the first half, the possession and territory was pretty even, but it was the Chiefs that came away with it. A rare penalty early on gave DMAC kicked those over for 3. The Brumbies only gave up 3 penalties all game, and 2 of those were kickable. The first one and the last one late on, which DMAC missed. So in comparison, the Chiefs gave up 13 penalties in this game, which is what led to the lineouts. I mean, only 5 lineouts for the Chiefs, 18 for the Brumbies in this game. As I say, those penalties obviously contributing a bunch to that as well. Even though some of them were taken to scrums. The Brumbies really had the upper hand at scrum time, and we saw that pretty early on. In that second half, there were a number of scrum penalties, and you thought perhaps the Chiefs could have got a yellow card for repeat infringements for that, but that didn't happen. And really, the first 20 minutes, neither side could actually. Both sides they were turning over ball, either knocking it on or getting it stolen. And then it wasn't when the Chiefs managed to get themselves 12 phases put together. They did get. They got the first try. The Brumbies had an opportunity for 3 after that, but turned it down, went for that line-out mauls. But the Chiefs really did defend the line-out mauls really well tonight, stopping the Brumbies in that facet. Let's be honest, that's one of those things that the Brumbies are famous for, their line-out mauls. But the Chiefs have had a very good game in that kind of area. And then on the half-hour mark, from a counter-attack from a kick, and DMAC showed all of his lovely skills. Behind the back offload, was tackled, got back up, was at the next breakdown as first or second receiver it was, spotted there was a mismatch and used his pace to go over to a 17-0 lead at that point. The Brumbies did go through 16 phases at one point until Arnold was twisting over the line and dropped it. Unfortunately, Adol got it stripped at that point. So the Brumbies did go close in that first half and really should have come away at some points. Their play deserved it. One of the players had a good day on the night. Banks was under all the high balls being kicked at him. Had a good day from fullback. But the Chiefs clearly changed their game plan for this game compared to the game against Highlanders last weekend. I mean, for example, last weekend we saw Messam in that sort of second or third out from the rucks a lot, playing that link role. In this game, we didn't see him do that once. The entire time he spent out wide in a much more sort of Kieran Reid out wide role in this game. So big change in tactics for this game that the Chiefs used. Clearly, they spotted something against Highlanders where having Messam in there as a link player would really help. And in this game, they really closed down some of the key threats that the Brumbies had. They didn't let Pocock have many opportunities at the breakdown. They're very quick at the breakdown tonight. And as I say, they turned over the Brumbies 22 times. Now, that's not all of them turn over. There's knock-ons and other things there as well, and intercepts. But they obviously, as I say, they went to work on the Brumbies' strengths and negate them as the best they could. Second half, Brumbies came back into it, and Spate scored out wide after multiple times. And at this point, just before that try, the Chiefs got warned that the next penalty down here would be a yellow card, and they had to behave themselves. And it was under advantage when Spate went over. And the commentators made a good point. If you're under advantage, surely the penalty has been given, or the infringement has happened, so shouldn't the yellow card be there as well? Maybe they've got a very good point there about some perhaps the laws that need to be looked at. But Unfortunately, Leofano's kicking wasn't on song tonight, and he missed that conversion. We then had a great break by the Brumbies from the kickoff. Pocock showing some good pace there, and one of the Chiefs got caught inside his own 22, so getting towards the try line, offside for a penalty again. Now, having just been warned about 3 minutes earlier, just before the kickoff, or just before the try, so the next set of plays, they give up another penalty deep in their own 22. You'd have thought perhaps a repeat yellow card was in order there. In this game, the Chiefs gave up 13 penalties. The Brumbies only 3. A bit surprised it wasn't a repeat penalty yellow card. And soon after that, DMAC intercepted a long pass out wide, nearly went the length of the pitch, passed his brother. Banks chased down very well to stop, to make Damien McKenzie pass, and then to get in the way and knock down Marty McKenzie's pass backwards. And then eventually, though, a couple of phases later, Marty McKenzie chipped over. The ball bounced off the post and was collected for a try. So what could have been 17-12 suddenly switched to being 24-5 or 17-12, and a man down for the Chiefs, switched around and was 24-5, and you felt the game was over at that point. Then we did get a yellow card for a late high tackle at scrum time, really silly one on Matt Lucas, the scrum half, and from that penalty, the Brumbies still went for the line-out maul, and so I went from a bunch of scrums and the line-out maul. Scrums kept collapsing. I say again, another opportunity for a yellow card that didn't happen. The line-out maul was defended very well, but eventually the pressure told, and Banks managed to walk over after Harua, and Lucas showed some great interplay to go through a gap next to the ruck. Seeing that the line-out maul wasn't working, when they got back down into the Chiefs 22, this time the ball came out, a lovely wraparound by Spate. The ball came out quickly with Pocock peeling off, fed it to Spate. Spate up against a forward, far too much pace, and has got round his man. Obviously, all the other backs having to mark off their men. And suddenly this extra player who'd wrapped round gave them that the extra man. And Spate went over, and suddenly it was 24-19 with 7 minutes to go. The game was really on at that point, down to a score. The Brumbies go for a rare penalty in their own. They then tried to, obviously had to keep hold of the ball because we're running out of time and needed to score, and go for a rare penalty, offensive ruck penalty, not holding on. But Damien McKenzie missed the kick, which kept the game alive. Brumbies went down the field, got into the Chiefs' half, and then knocked it on. And say turnovers were the big things in this. Replay suggests that maybe there was a Chiefs knock on first, or it probably was actually, but that's not the kind of thing you go to the TMO for, and the ref called it as he saw it, which is a big call for both these sides. It basically means that the Brumbies are pretty much out of finals contention now, with only one more round to go, with the Chiefs chasing down the Hurricanes to try and get that home quarter final. So good game, well played by the Brumbies, some great defence in that as well. Managed to contain the Chiefs on the whole, but a couple of breakouts. Obviously, it's going to happen with someone like Damien McKenzie there, and a bit unlucky not to. They said to say very competitive, fought the way through the end, and perhaps a bit unlucky at the end. But really, it was the discipline was great, but 22 turnovers to 9 was what really killed them in this game. Thanks for joining me. Right, next up we have the Hurricanes versus the Blues. Join me after that for another post-match analysis.